and Outreach Read and Girls Script Jaipur welcomes you to our 4 days bootcamp on GitHub, and open source. So at first, I would like to call my chapter lead Jayashree to tell us more about our chapter and Girls Script Jaipur.
Thank you, Shreya. So, I, Jayashree Gupta, on the behalf of Girls Script Jaipur, I would like to welcome all the speakers as well as all the attendees to this 4 day open source boot camp. And Girls Script Jaipur is basically a non-profit organization which is mainly focused on the technical skills and which provide the technical resources to the students. So, I would like Shreya to go ahead, and all the speakers are very all the best.
So at first,
So,
this is our team.
yeah, sure.
So let's start our session with the introduction of our speakers. Our first speaker is Sneha Agrawal. She's an upcoming intern at American Express, WTech Goldman Sachs scholar, LGMN SOC mentor, Lean in Vanasthali mentor, and VGHC 21 scholar. Then our second speaker will be Kashish Bhatia. She was a contributor in Girl Script Winter of Contributing. She was a co-author at Inkzoid Foundation publication for 2 projects. Then at last, our last speaker will be Sondeep Ghosh. He is a computer science undergraduate student at Ansool Engineering College and has also contributed in Hacktoberfest 2021. Thank you. Now I would like to ask my speaker to start with her
Thank you
session.
so much, Shreya. That was a lovely introduction. And hello, everyone. I'm Sneha Agrawal, a pre-final year computer science engineering student at Vanasthali Vidyapeeth, as told by Shreya. That was a lovely introduction. And I'll be guiding you with some basic concepts of Git and GitHub today. So let's just start with that. Um, just let me know if my screen is visible once. Let's just start with that. Um, just let me know if my screen is visible once. Let's just start. Can you see my screen?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's just quickly look at the objectives of the session. We'll be learning about version control system. We'll be introducing to you Git and GitHub, and we will also try to make you understand the difference between Git and GitHub. Yeah. So with that being said, let's learn what is a version control system. So before learning that what is a version control system, I would like to answer that why do we need to study a version control system? For that, we'll take up some example. For example, we have a group of 3 students who are working on some project. Say they're building a website, and there's a person A, person B, and person C. So they want to work on the same project under some collaborative environment. For that, they'll be working on some uh, individual sections of code, and they'll be sharing those codes using some of the mails or some of other resources, right? But the main problem here is every time, suppose the person A who is working on the home page, person B who's working on the profile section maybe, and the person C who's working on the other parts of the website, every time they write their pieces of code, they'll have to update their peers group and they'll have to mail them, right? This is a huge problem. So here comes in picture the version control system. So a version control system is nothing but the management to the changes to documents, computer programs, large websites, and other collections of informations. Every version is basically the changes that we have made. Here in the diagram itself, you can see the project is having some file sections, like there is an index.html file, then followed by some services file. So every time there are further modifications being made, right? So for doing that, we need a version control system which will automatically modifies the file and will keep a track of every modified version. And now here our problem is resolved. We do not need to keep a track every time of the modified version, and we are free from mailing every time the stuff. So that's why we are starting version control system, and I hope version control system is clear to you all. Now let's just move ahead. and look at the advantages that we have learned with the version control system. With learning of the version control system, we'll be able to easily recover our files since we'll be making a track of all the versions of the file. So we can easily keep a track of the previous versions, the latest versions, the version that we want, right? Next, every time we are facing any issue, like suppose since a lot of students will be working on the same project and it leads to some certain wrong commits, so we can easily identify those issues and even roll back them. So these were some of the advantages that we have learned with version control system. Now we have learned what is a version control system. Now we need to learn the history of the version control system in order to understand how Git evolved. Now, first, the version control system that came into picture was local version control system. It was first made by the programmers which used a database to keep a track of the files. But the major drawback here was since all the changes were made onto the computer, if the computer somehow gets corrupted or even gets damaged, then all the data will be gone and the user will be left with nothing and will be a wastage of time. So this was the problem in the local version control system. Now that we have learned local version control system, we know its pros that are we will be easily to able to track the files, we'll be able to roll back to the previous versions or the mistakes or the issues that we have created. We will also be able to keep a track of all the files that we have. But with that, we have some of the disadvantages too. That is, if the local computer gets corrupted, then all the data will be lost. As discussed, these were the problems that we were facing in the local version control system. Now, with that being said, we'll proceed further to the next version of the version control system, that is uh, sorry for the mishap that I just missed out to explain you guys diagrammatically. We'll be looking at the version control system once here with the help of the diagram. Here you can see the versions of the file is there in the database. So the database is keeping track of all the versions that we need. So that's how the local version control system works. Now we'll proceed the next version of the version control system, that is a centralized version. So, after the local version system, the centralized version came because we were facing the issue of data loss, right? So, there is no chance of data loss in this centralized version control system because we'll be making use of a server. Now, the programmer need to pull the file from the server and make the changes and then push back the modified code back to the server. Now that we are pushing back to the code to the server again, there's no chance that the data will be lost. But again, here is a chance that in a case if the server gets damaged, then the user files will be lost forever. Since every time the programmer is asking for the files, he is merging the updated versions and is not keeping a track of the previous and the newer the previous versions that were initially being made. And that's how in a case if server gets damaged, we'll be lost with the data. So that is we have studied the advantages and the disadvantages of the centralized version control system. Right now we'll move to the final version control system that we are working right now, which is this distributed version control system. Okay, so this is very much like the centralized version control system. But before that, I like to show you the slight difference diagrammatically so that you people will be very clear with the difference. See here in the centralized version control system, the computer A is not having all the versions of the database. Similarly, the computer B is not even having all the versions. That's how, in a case, if the server gets damaged, the files the previous versions will be lost and we'll be left with nothing. Now, we'll see how we can overcome this problem. For that, we'll study distributed version control system. As mentioned before, this is very, very similar like centralized version control system. The only difference here is when the programmer will pull the file, he will get the complete changes of the project. That is, you heard it correct. You will be getting the entire copy of the project every time you are pulling the files, and each programmer will have the complete backup of the server. And that's how we'll be able with will be able to keep a track of all the versions of this file that we are having, and we'll be easily able to recover our data. So the modified version, that is a distributed version control system is now being currently used, and that is Git. Let us just first look at the diagrammatic representation of the distributed version control system to make the things a little more clear. Here you can see the server itself, who is having all the versions, is sharing the computers with all the available versions. That's how, in a case, even if the server gets destroyed or even gets corrupted, we have the data and individual copies with every computer, and we are left with the entire copies, so we do not need to worry about and we can work on further. So, moving ahead, now we will be looking at what is a Git. Okay, so Git is a very, very important software. So, as we have studied that Git is a version control system, but it is the distributed version control system, the modified version that we have studied. It was created by Linus Torvald in 2005. It is a free open source distributed version control system which helps us handle small to large projects with great speed and efficiency. Yes, you heard it right. So this is what we are working on, Git. Next, we'll be forwarding to GitHub. Now, you must be thinking of then how these terms are different because they sound very similar. But the problem here is now we have repositories, but we do not have a platform to host these repositories. Yes, for that, we'll be requiring an hosting platform. So GitHub is nothing but the same platform that we are searching for. GitHub is a web based Git repository hosting service. Git enables us to share the files and collaborate with different people. It is the most user friendly interface and is very helpful when more than one person is working on the same project. So, that being said, we are clear with Git and GitHub. Now, you might be thinking the difference between the two. So the difference lies in the terms itself. If you see, what is a Git is a version control system that lets you manage and keep a track of your source code history. But GitHub is basically a code based hosting service that lets you manage GitHub repositories. So that's how we can differentiate the two terms. And that being said, I guess you can proceed further to the other sections of the session. Um, I'll just stop presenting my screen and hand it over to.
That was indeed a great question by Sneha. Now, Shreya, please forward with some other speaker.
Yeah, now I would like to call Kashish Bhatia. She will tell us how to create a GitHub account and basic technologies using GitHub. And if you all have any doubt, you can ask us in comment section. We'll clear all your doubts.
Okay, so hi everyone. Wilshire gave quite an introduction for me, so I'll just keep it very brief right now. So myself Kashish Bhatia, and I'm pursuing BTech, majoring in computer science from Banasthali Vidyapeeth University, Jaipur. And without any further ado, we'll just straight away get into the topic. All right. So I'll just show you a demo for how to create the GitHub account so that you guys can follow up. Just let me know if my screen is presenting. Okay. Okay. So is it presenting?
Yeah, it's visible, Kashish.
Okay, great. So we'll directly step into the second slide. All right. So as we can see over here, we have two steps. We have a number of steps. We'll just directly jump into the link provided over here. That is github.com/join. Either you guys can, use this particular link. You will be directly, redirected to this particular page, and you can just continue with the process. Or you can either, use GitHub. You can just type github.com on your any of the search engines and you'll be directed to this particular page. All right, so we'll just keep a username for ourselves, and if it is not available, we'll try and figure out to, like for example, this one is available. You can add numbers, small case and uppercase letters. We'll just add our Gmail ID. right? And we'll set a password. All right, and we're good to go. Make sure you have a really nice password so that it kind of satisfies all the specifications required. All right, and then we'll just click on the verify account. Okay, so pick a spiral galaxy. We'll have to figure out a spiral galaxy. I can see it over here. So pick a spiral galaxy again, once again. So just need to select it and be done. All right. So just need to click on create account. Okay, so one thing I need to inform you guys: if it doesn't get verified at that particular time, you just need to, you might have some or the other maybe extensions applied to your engine, search engine. You just need to block them. It might be an ad blocker extension or any other extension, so you just need to block them. Okay, so we'll just get onto our Gmail so that we can get the link for the particular. Just a second. Yeah. Missions. I'll directly jump over here. Okay, so here you can see we have a mail. All right, so this is the code. You just copy it. Just a second. Yeah. Control C. Then we just type the code over here. Right. Control V. And then there's your GitHub account, which is you just need to verify it after that. All right, so you need to tell them how many members you're going to work with in your account. So for time being, you can just say just me if you're just creating it for yourself. All right, just click on continue, and what specific features you're interested in, you can skip it for time being. All right, yeah. Over here, it will direct you to a page where it'll say, do you want a free account or a paid one? So before 2019, the GitHub used to have paid accounts, all right, for which they used to charge for the repositories and stuff. But after that, after 2019, they just have free accounts available for unlimited public and private repositories you can create. You later on get to know what repositories are, all right. So we'll just continue the free one, continue for free. All right, then initializing the dashboard, and boom, your account is being created. All right, so I'll just give you a brief about it. Over here, if you just check out, this is your profile. You can just yeah, over here. So in the drop down list, you will click on your profile. All right. So it shows you don't have any public repositories yet because you have not created any, so there won't be any. All right. Okay, so this is your username which you will be using for your GitHub account. All right, and it will show you all your contributions since last year. All right, yeah, and your contribution activity. Once you start contributing or committing the repositories, you'll get to know what all stuff you've been doing. So it'll be mentioned over here in your account. Okay, so yeah, over here you just get a brief of your repositories which you have created. All right, and if you click on projects, you'll get to know. Okay, so it's just gives you a brief introduction of what projects are. All right, so you can just build a spreadsheet, project tables, and can give a live canvas to filter or sort and group issues to pull requests. All right, so we'll just jump right in, and it shows you have no projects yet because you have to create one. All right, then it shows packages. If you want to have any registry, or you'll have to basically, once again. Yeah, so over here we'll just get stars and stuff if you want have. Am I audible? Okay.
Yes, you are, Kajish.
Okay, great. Fine. Yeah, so over here you can create your lists according to whatever you need to organize and curate repository. So you can create a list and maintain a proper, organized way of your stuff. All right, so yeah, that's it. And there you go. You have your account. You just go and code and have fun with your codes. So that's it. I'll just hand over the screen to Shreya now.
Thank you so much, Kashish. Now I would like to call our next speaker, Sordeep.
One second, Shreya. There are a few questions. Kashish, would you like to answer?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so first question is, should we keep our GitHub profile public? Shalvi is asking for it.
Yes, you can keep your GitHub profile public if you want, like other people to refer to your codes. And if you're working with someone who you want to share your codes with, definitely you can keep your GitHub account public. And for private, even for private, if you want, there is you'll have to make transactions for keeping it private. So you'll have to check for that.
Okay, then next question is from Ritika. While making GitHub account, I get an error of unable to verify capture response. What does this mean?
Yeah, Ritika, I just referred to it earlier. I said that you might be having some of the other extensions with your search engine, so you'll have to check for that. You'll have to disable it, and later on, you can just again, refresh your page, and you'll be good to go.
Okay, there's one more question. What is the difference between GitHub and Git? I think Sneha has covered this already. So if you want to add something, okay, Shreya, do you want to add something?
See, I think
Sneha
Sneha
has
has
covered this.
already covered this, the whole.
Anmol, you can just go back and check that Sneha has already shared this. Okay, one more question. Like, can we do anything after creating account?
Yeah, of course, you can just keep on, whatever way you want to code, you can code in the particular language. There are plenty of languages. So you can code in them, you can create repositories, and you can have projects to be made over there. You have a lot of stuff to do there.
Yeah, you can go out and contribute to the different communities. Be there to help someone with your code. Make your profile
Absolutely,
public so that you can help others with your code.
absolutely, absolutely.
And you can also participate in several competitions and hackathons, and you can share your projects in that. Okay, so let's move ahead with our next speaker.
Yeah, so now I would like to welcome our next speaker, Sudeep. He will tell us about repositories and how to create your repositories.
Yeah, Saurabh, please share your screen.
The sharing screen is visible to all of you.
Yeah, it's visible.
So, hello everyone. My name is Sorodip Ghosh. I'm a BTech Computer Science first year student at Asansol Engineering College. And let's start. So, once you logged in your GitHub account, you see this kind of stuff. Not this exact stuff because I since using this GitHub account sometime. So, I create some repository. If you are new, then you don't see this kinds of stuff, these kinds of fancy stuffs there. So let's proceed. So the first thing you need to know using GitHub, what is repository? So repository is a thing there you can imagine like that, a place where you can put down your projects. So let's quickly create a repository first. If you are GitHub page, then you see this plus icon. So click on that, the drop down menu came and select new repository and it's redirect this page. Once you redirect it, at first you have to give a repository name. For example, in this case I give hello world, and it is completely optional if you want to give any description, so I don't give it. Then the most important part came. If you want to give it visibility, so you have to choose. There are two options. One is public, another one is private. So if you select the public option, then everyone in the internet can see your repository. And once you click this private option, then except you, no one can see your repository. So if you want to share with your friend, then you can also do that. So let's proceed further. I make it public. Initializing this repository with readme file. What is readme file? Later on explain in this bootcamp series. So be connected and create a repository. Now you have successfully created your repository. So if you want to change anything, like if you want to rename it, then click on the settings, go ahead and you can repository name you can change if, as I give random numbers and rename it. It is renaming. If you want to delete, then go scroll down in the settings tab and you find this danger zone, and this is where you can delete it. It shows it sometimes you have to put on your repository name. For example, this one. So now it says I understand the consequence and delete this repository. Click and it's want your password for verifying it, and you're good to go. You can see there is no repository name like hello world something like that. So that's for all my side. Go ahead.
Thank you, Saurabh. It was indeed a great session, and you explained very well. Yeah, Shreya. Anything else?
No, I think he has covered everything. So I think we are done with today's session. Uh,
So, guys, if you have any questions, just post it in the chat box.
yeah, waiting for your questions, guys. And you can also keep your if you want to start done more, you can ask your doubt tomorrow also with us.
Okay, so there's a question that what is a pull request? So,
Yeah,
like, sorry, if you want to cover this, you can. Otherwise, we'll cover it in our further sessions.
we will cover this in further sessions.
All right. Is there any limit for uploading the code?
I guess no.
Yeah. So, Joyji, there is no limitation for uploading any code at GitHub because it's cloud based. So, any other queries, guys? I think we don't have further questions. So, we can end our session. Shreya, just go ahead.
Yeah, I hope every one of you has found something to retain from this program, and we will show you more enthusiasm in the following days. On that note, I would like to conclude today's session and thank you all for being such an interactive and patient audience. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.